Hi there, welcome to my views and news. Viewers, everyone following political, regional security developments in the Horn of Africa is asking one question these days. Can Somalia possibly stop Ethiopia from establishing a naval base in a Somaliland and recognizing Somaliland as a country? What does Somalia have on its side? Which tactics can Somalia adopt? How effective are these tools and weapons which Somalia could use? So in this video, we'll have a look at some likely actions taken by Somalia to stop Ethiopia. So far, both sides have made it clear that they are sticking to their position. Ethiopia wants to implement its Somaliland MOU, the MOU which gave Ethiopia access to the sea in Somaliland and permission to establish a naval base in return for maybe Ethiopia recognizing Somaliland as a country. Somalia convinced on the other side as well. On the other hand, threatening Ethiopia that no matter what happens, it won't let Ethiopia set foot on Somali territory. Somalia says Somaliland is Somali territory and internationally it's part of Somalia. So, what can possibly be done by Somalia to thwart the implementation of the MOU between Somaliland and Ethiopia, which is basically an MOU so far? It has not turned into an agreement or it has not been made public. Even MOU has not been made public so far. So let's start. We'll have a look at what possibly can be done by Somalia. We'll start from Somaliland. What can Somalia do in Somaliland? Secondly, we'll talk about Somali region of Ethiopia. Thirdly, we'll talk about the role of armed groups. And fourthly, we'll talk about the role of regional players in support of Somalia. Let's start from Somaliland. What can Somalia do in Somaliland to undermine Ethiopia's Somaliland MOU? Somalia can back SSC Khatomo in eastern part of Somaliland. Eastern part of Somaliland, we have been seeing an uprising. SSC Khatomo fighters are in control of Lassanud and other areas. Somaliland has no authority there. Somaliland military had to withdraw from there. So far, Somalia has not sent its federal forces to SSC Khatomo control areas. It could happen that either Somalia could send its forces to SSC Khatomo control areas, it would recognize SSC Khatomo control areas as part of Somalia under Somali administration, though Somalia claims that entire Somaliland is part of Somalia. So either it might send its forces to SSC Khatomo control areas, or it will put in place its administration there to recognize SSC Khatomo control areas as working parts of Somalia. Secondly, western part of Somaliland, through which Ethiopia intends to gain access to the sea, and that is Odal zone. Definitely, Somalia will interfere in Odal. Through Odal, Ethiopia wants to reach Lohaya, where Lohaya is the proposed site for establishment of Ethiopian naval base in Somaliland. We have seen a protest against the MOU in Burama, the capital city of Odal. Somalia will try to exploit this anti-MOU sentiment in parts of Odal. We could see indirect intervention from Somalia in Odal state. And that is why Somaliland has launched an arrest campaign. Dozens have been arrested in Odal in the past 3 to 4 days. Those who are behind the organizing of an anti-MOU protest have been arrested in Somaliland. Thirdly, direct full scale attack on Somaliland. Is it a possibility? It does not seem to be a possibility, but anything can happen. So far, it's not that Somalia is prepared to launch a full scale war on Somaliland. It won't happen, but it is a possibility. We'll have to monitor the position taken by Puntland, which shares border with SSC Khartoum controlled areas. I have not seen any statement from Puntland so far. I think in Puntland, a new president has been elected. Abdullah Dini is the new president, though he's not new. This is his second term. And people say that Puntland and southwest states, two Somalia regional states, are uh, in touch with Ethiopia. Ethiopian troops are in southwest state, in Gado Kismayo too. And in southwest state, some airports are under the control of Ethiopian military. People say that it would be difficult for Hassan Sheikh government to get support from Puntland to wage a full-scale war on Somaliland and to get full-scale support from southwest state to launch a full-scale war on the Somali region of Ethiopia. We have seen tension between the federal member states of Somalia and the federal government. This is what Somalia can possibly do in terms of its intervention in Somaliland. Obviously, Somalia can take the case to a legal forum as well. It might resort to filing of a case against Ethiopia, maybe against Somaliland too, but I think mainly Ethiopia. Somaliland is not a country recognized by any organization, any forum. Like Somalia filed a case against Kenya about the maritime dispute. Somalia won the case. Same could happen here too, but that's another side of this battle between Ethiopia and Somalia. So first point is about Somaliland. Secondly, Somali region of Ethiopia. Somalia will definitely reject the border between Ethiopia and Ethiopia, Somali region, and Somalia. It will raise historical issues that Ethiopia annexed Somali territories, and Hassan Sheikh hinted at that 2 days ago when he said that Ethiopia was opening those chapters which were closed decades ago. So, border issue will be raised by Somalia, calling it a controversial border that Ethiopia annexed Somalia's territories. And then, obviously, Somalia would like to get in touch with the groups and people in the Somali region of Ethiopia, playing ethnic card, nationalist card that Somali territories are being annexed by Ethiopia. So all Somalis should unite and they should build a greater Somalia. And that is what we heard from Somalia's military spokesperson, who said that the Somalia's military was in touch with groups in Somali region of Ethiopia, and the groups were ready to wage war on Ethiopia if Mogadishu was ready to take the lead. So we could see Somalia back some elements in the Somali region of Ethiopia. The elements could be ethnic elements, armed elements, tribes. Or the National Liberation Front could be a player which has a long experience of fighting guerrilla war, though it turned into a political party in 2018. So far, we're seeing that the President of Somali region has spoken clearly supporting the MOU. He's part of Prosperity Party, he's part of the government, so he's backing the MOU. But opposition parties could be lured by Somalia into supporting a pro-Somalia position. Somali region could be a battleground. These opposition parties have been accusing Mustafa Umar is working against Somali interests. So ethnic tribal cards could be played by Somalia in the Somali region of Ethiopia. How far can Somalia get support from Somali region of Ethiopia? People say, Sajid, the Somalis will unite. You'll see all Somalis in Somali region, Somaliland, Djibouti, Somalia will unite against Ethiopia. Ethiopia did injustice to Somalis in the past. I don't see this unity coming by them. And I mentioned about Somalia's intervention in Somaliland too. If Somalia decided to launch a full-scale war on Somaliland, will Ethiopia remain silent? Because the MOU between Ethiopia and Somaliland is about security cooperation too. Ethiopia can send its forces to Somaliland to protect Somaliland. It's not that Somalia can easily take over entire Somaliland. So point number one, that Somalia can wage direct war on Somaliland, perhaps not a possibility. Point number two, that Somalia can get immense public support from Somali region of Ethiopia. Again, I don't see entire Somali region rise against Ethiopian government. Why would they join Somalia? What would they gain from joining Somalia? Apart from joining their Somali clan members. Otherwise, they won't be in a better position economically, maybe, if they join Somalia. But yes, they have affiliations, they have love for their tribal brothers and sisters. Third card which could be played by Somalia is support for armed factions. Could Al Shabaab be unleashed by Somalia on Ethiopia? Can it happen? Though it wouldn't be in the interest of Somalia to give the green light to Al Shabaab to wage war on Ethiopia. But in the worst case scenario, it could happen, by the way. If Somalia has decided to stop Ethiopia, no matter what happens, I don't think that it would hesitate from using Al Shabaab card as well. If Al Shabaab is unleashed and Al Shabaab decide to wage war on Ethiopia, not only will it make Al Shabaab stronger, but it could pose a serious security challenge for Ethiopia, Somalia, other regional countries too. A stronger Al Shabaab could be a regional threat, I think. Somalia could start backing armed groups in Ethiopia as well. We could see formation of new armed groups in Ethiopia, Somali region, in Somaliland. You could see emergence of new armed faction, new militias could be raised. Fano supporters are already all praise for Somalia. Ola issued a statement to showing solidarity with Somalia's government. So we could see engagement between Somalia and these anti-Ethiopian government armed factions. Somalia could start supporting these elements against Ethiopian government. What about the role of regional players? Ideally, Somalia would like a broad regional security alliance against Ethiopia. Hassan Sheikh, Isas Afwerki, Al-Sisi of Egypt are set to meet in Cairo in coming days. If they sign a security pact and they say that attack on one country will be seen attack on all countries, it would be the success of Somalia's foreign policy. Will Eritrea and Egypt go this far to support Somalia? That remains to be seen. But ideally, this scenario suits Somalia if Eritrea, Egypt openly, wholeheartedly stand with Somalia, saying that they will protect Somalia's integrity and sovereignty. We have seen number of statements in support of Somalia's sovereignty or integrity, but who will stand in support of Somalia to protect the sovereignty or integrity? That remains to be seen. So ideally, Somalia would like its allies to be standing with its military. Will it happen? That remains to be seen. And the role of some other countries will also be crucial. Turkey especially. Turkey is known for taking very clear-cut, strong positions in international conflicts. Wherever Turkish interests are to be protected, Turkey intervenes directly. We saw that in Libya. We saw that in Azerbaijan-Armenia war. To some extent in Tigray war too, where Turkey intervened, but to some extent. Here, if Turkey decides to support Somalia, it would be a big blow to Ethiopia. Uh, Turkey will weigh its interests in Somalia and in Ethiopia. Turkey has investments in Ethiopia. It has a military base in Somalia. Which side will it support? Will it stay neutral? That remains to be seen. Ideally, Somalia would like these players, Egypt, Eritrea, and Turkey, to be on its side. And fourth main player could be Djibouti, small country, but in this conflict, it is going to be a major player. Keeping in view that Somali Isas are in power there, Somali Isas live in Somali region of Ethiopia too, in Somaliland too, and this Somali Isa card is being played by Somalia. Somalia is propagating that Somali Isas are in danger. They are being displaced in the Somali region of Ethiopia. So they should unite. They should protect the land. Ethiopia wants to annex Somali Isa's land in Odal region. So what will Djibouti do? Will it take a soft stance because it does not want to lose its customer Ethiopia, which has been using Djibouti's ports for decades, giving billions of dollars to Djibouti in port fees? And Ethiopia cannot overnight shift from Djibouti's port to a port in Somaliland. It will take years. I don't think Ethiopia will stop using Djibouti's port altogether. So, will Djibouti take any sides? Will Djibouti stand with Somalia? I don't think it will publicly stand with Somalia, but it will try to attract Ethiopia. Maybe it will give a better deal to Ethiopia so that Ethiopia does not divert all its imports, exports from Djibouti to Somaliland. But Djibouti is a key player. Djibouti's tribes and government will play a key role. This is the situation. These are the cards, the tools which Somalia has on its side. But so far, it's not that the war is imminent because still tens of thousands of Ethiopian troops are operating in Somalia. They're part of African Union peacekeeping mission. They are deployed under bilateral arrangement as well. They are protecting key facilities in some regional states of Somalia. Ethiopian Airlines still operating in Somalia. In Mogadishu, flights ongoing, no disruption. Ethiopian ambassador is back in Mogadishu. He came to Ethiopia for a few days. He's back there. So no change. And Somalia is still importing chaff from Ethiopia. Basically, on the ground, no big change. Somalia recalled its ambassador from Ethiopia for consultations. We don't know if he has returned or not. But so far, no signs of diplomatic ties cut off between two sides. It means that basically we are seeing statements from Ethiopia, statements from Somalia. So far, no side has taken a major step which could lead to sudden escalation in tensions. What options does Ethiopia have? Which tools can Ethiopia make use of to achieve its objectives? We'll have a look at these questions in coming videos. Thank you for watching.